Hey everyone, Cap from TCGPlayer here, bringing you my new deck building series. With the recent release of the new Freezing Change structure deck, I figured now was as good as time as any to pick up a new deck and learn how to play an archetype that I've always been interested in. This structure deck revolves around the Ice Barrier monsters, and there are quite a few great new support cards for the archetype. This series takes a great amount of inspiration from many YouTubers, whether that be through a sealed only or singles only challenge, and I have a few goals for the series overall. The first being to learn more about the Ice Barrier archetype as a whole, as I did not play the game around the Synchro era when these monsters were prevalent, and again this structure deck brings some great support for the archetype. My second goal for the series is to learn more about deck building overall, as we are all prone to net decking, and I myself certainly hope to use this experience to enhance my understanding for the game mechanics overall. And my third goal for the series is to use this to add some variety to the channel, as well as just have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! With friends, whether that be through Dueling Book or EDO Pro, as well as in remote or live duels. So without further ado, let's open one of the boxes up and see exactly what comes in the structure deck. So of course you get the structure deck, as well as a playmat. These of course come with some tips to power up your deck, as well as certain combos that you're able to do. And we'll start with the new Revealer of the Ice Barrier. A very powerful card for the archetype. Alright, so starting with Revealer of the Ice Barrier, this is a great support card in the deck, and I found that most of the time you will normal summon Revealer if you have her. She has the effect, while she is on the field and you control another Ice Barrier monster, your opponent cannot tribute summon. She also has the effect where you can discard a card to special summon one Ice Barrier tuner from your deck. This also locks you into only being able to special summon water monsters for the rest of the turn. And Revealer also has an effect where if you would discard or send a card from the hand to the graveyard to activate an Ice Barrier monster effect, you can banish it from the graveyard instead. Then we have Speaker for the Ice Barriers. I believe this was called Miko, or Vessel Miko in the OCG. Speaker has the effect, while you control another Ice Barrier monster, defense position monsters your opponent controls cannot change their battle positions. Speaker also has the effect if you control an Ice Barrier monster, where you can special summon this card from your hand, and it also has the effect in the graveyard where if you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can banish it and special summon an Ice Barrier token. We also have Zuijin. This has the effect where you can tribute it and special summon a level 5 or higher Ice Barrier monster from your hand. Also, if it's in your graveyard, you can target a level 3 or higher water monster you control and reduce its level by 2 and then special summon Zuijin from the grave, but it is banished when it leaves the field. We also have Winds over the Ice Barrier. This allows you to tribute any number of Ice Barrier monsters to special summon from your deck that many level 4 or lower Ice Barrier monsters with different names. So this is great as it allows you to activate your Ice Barrier effects on field and then tribute them to special summon more Ice Barriers, which you can then activate those effects. It also has the effect during your main phase. You can banish it from your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, to target an Ice Barrier in your graveyard or that's banished, and add it to your hand. The new Trishula Synchro, we have Trishula Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Has the effect when it's synchro summoned to banish up to 3 cards your opponent controls. Also, if it's destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon a Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier from your extra deck or graveyard. Its attack becomes 3,300, then you halve the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls, and negate those effects. So a very powerful card. We also have Duloran. This is limited, Duelorin allows you to target any number of face-up cards you control and return them to the hand, and it gains 500 attack for each of those cards that were returned to the hand. And that attack boost lasts until the end of the turn. We also have Brionic. Brionic allows you to discard any number of cards to the graveyard, and then target the same number of cards your opponent controls, and return those to the hand. We also have Gungnir. Has a once per turn effect where you can discard up to 2 cards, and then target the same number of cards your opponent controls and destroy them. We have Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Trishula has the effect when it's Synchro Summon, you can banish 1 card from your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard. We have General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. While General Wayne is on the field, spell and traps sent from the field to your opponent's graveyard are banished instead. Has the effect where if your opponent controls a monster, and you control an Ice Barrier, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then when it's normal or special summoned, you can add an Ice Barrier spell or trap directly from your deck. We also have Hexa Spirit of the Ice Barrier. Great tuner addition to the deck. Has the effect while you control another Ice Barrier monster, all opponent's monsters lose 500 attack and defense. Also has the effect during your main phase where you can send a level 3 or lower Ice Barrier from your deck to the grave, and Hexa Spirit's level becomes that monster's level until the end of the turn. Prior of the Ice Barrier. This has the effect where if you control an Ice Barrier, you can special summon it from your hand. Though you are not able to special summon any level 5 or higher monsters the turn you special summon it, you're also able to tribute it and target an Ice Barrier in your graveyard and special summon it. We have Defender of the Ice Barrier. This is a great card, as it has the effect while you control another Ice Barrier monster, monsters your opponent controls cannot declare an attack if their attack is greater than or equal to this card's defense. Warlock of the Ice Barrier. If you control another Ice Barrier while you control Warlock, both players must set spell cards before activating them. Spellbreaker has the effect where you can send an Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard, and neither player can activate spell cards until the end of your next turn. Strategist of the Ice Barrier has the effect where you can send an Ice Barrier from your hand to the graveyard to draw 1 card. Dance Princess, Dai Sojo, General Ryo. This has the effect when your opponent's monster effect is activated on the field, they must either discard a card or the effect is negated. Medium of the Ice Barrier, General Gantala of the Ice Barrier. This has the effect once per turn during the end phase where you can target an Ice Barrier in your grave and special summon it. General Grenard has the effect where you can normal summon an Ice Barrier in addition to your normal summoner set once per turn. Gen X Controller, a great reprint, as well as Gen X Undyne. It has the effect where if it's normal summon, you can send a water monster from your deck to the graveyard and add Gen X Controller from the deck to the hand. Aqua Spirit. We have Dupe Frog, great reprint, as well as Ronin Totem, another great reprint. These cards were getting fairly expensive, even for the commons. We have Fishborg Launcher. Fishborg is a great free special summon from your graveyard, while all the monsters in your graveyard are water, but it's banished when it leaves the field. Mulinglacia and Silent Angler. Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. This allows you to Monster Reborn a level 4 or lower Ice Barrier from your grave. Also, while you control 3 or more Ice Barrier monsters, those Ice Barrier monsters you control are unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck. Magic Triangle of the Ice Barrier. Medallion of the Ice Barrier. It's just a Rhoda for the deck. Really great addition. Mirror of the Ice Barrier. As well as Salvage. And Surface. Where Arf Thou is a great reprint. The Pointer of the Red Lotus. Excellent. Fiendish Chain. Ice Bun. Mind Drain. This is a great card for hand trap protection. Heavy Storm Duster. We are in a fairly heavy trap format, so this is a great addition. Crackdown, as well as Terror of Trishula. So overall, some really great cards in the structure deck. I will break the other ones open here, and we'll put together a 40 card list. Alright, so I put together a quick 40 card list. The extra deck obviously is not full, as both Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, as well as Duloran are limited, and we'll see how this changes going forward. I should preface by saying this series will be following more of a singles-only challenge, as I believe this is what most of us would do when building a deck, rather than trying to get cards through sealed product. In this case, I will be using cards from my personal collection and assessing them at market value at the time of recording each video, so I believe the series should continue on a steady pace. This way the deck would moderately improve each episode, and ensures there is no extreme growth or too little growth in between each episode. I will have a $30 budget each time an episode's released, which will most likely be bi-weekly, as I also want to ensure that I get deck profiles out every week as I have before. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at the deck list I've come up with, and I'll have a few games to follow in order to get the episode out as soon as possible. All of the games you see in this episode will be on either EDO Pro or Dueling Book. But moving forward, again, I hope to have remote or live duels using this deck. So starting off, one of your best starters in the deck, we have 3 Revealer of the Ice Barrier. I'm also playing 3 Speaker of the Ice Barrier. Only 1 Zuijin, as well as 3 General Wayne. For tuners, I'm playing 2 Hexa-Spirit of the Ice Barrier, as well as 1 Defender of the Ice Barrier. And for their Ice Barrier support, 1 Prior, 2 Warlock, 1 Spellbreaker, 1 Strategist. For the Generals, I have 1 General Ryo, 1 General Grenard, and 1 General Gantala. At the moment, the deck is built a little bit more to control the game rather than combo. I am playing 3 Fishborg Launcher as well as 1 Mulinglacia. Mulinglacia is a great utility card. Being able to discard 2 random cards from your opponent's hand is very disruptive. And Fishborg Launcher is a great free special summon from the grave. For spells, I'm playing 3 Winds over the Ice Barrier. Also playing 3 Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier, and 3 Medallion of the Ice Barrier. And to round it out, I am playing 3 Crackdown, as well as 3 Mind Drain. This will help to protect our plays from hand traps should we be able to combo off, and this will just be able to help control the game a little bit further. Moving into the extra deck, we have 1 Duloran, 3 Brionac, 3 Gungnir, 1 Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, and 3 Trishula, Zero, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. We do in fact have a side deck, starting with 3 Appointer of the Red Lotus, 3 Fiendish Chain, 3 Heavy Storm Duster, 3 Terror of Trishula, and 3 Where Art Thou. So now I'll sleeve up the deck. Shout out to Dragon Shield. They are certainly my preferred choice of sleeves. And now that the cards are all sleeved up, let's get into some duels. Alright, so for the first match, I'm going up against what appears to be pure Mech Knight. Though we are met with quite a lot of interruption, so we're not able to get into any of our major synchro plays. I am able to poke in for a little bit of damage, but then they draw into the Girsu, which gets them the material they need for Lib. and then using their Mech Knight effects, they're able to fairly easily disassemble my board. Purple will search the blue Nightfall, special blue to add a Girsu for the follow-up, and they attack, clearing my board. And at this point I was just met with too many interruptions to be able to further my plays. I opt to go first once again. However, I don't have enough resources to get into any major plays. I activate Crackdown on the Lib, thinking that would disturb their plays enough. However, they are able to fairly easily overcome my board and OTK me on the next turn. So moving on to the next game, I'm going up against Spirit Charmers. So on my first turn, I'm met with quite a lot of interruption. However, on the follow-up, I meet them with just as much. And I'm able to set up the lock with Defender of the Ice Barrier, so that any monster with higher than 1600 attack is not able to attack. I'm also able to bring out the Nutritionalist Synchro and banish 3 cards they control, and bring back the Defender at the end of my turn, as well as General Wayne and the Frost Spirit. And they surrender after that. So moving on to game 2, they are going first. I don't really draw into a great hand, however the crackdowns will be helpful. I start with an Ice Medallion to search the Mirror Master. However, I'm quickly met with some more interruption. I activate the Crackdown, taking the IP Masquerena. And it's at this point that they just set up far too many monsters with very high attack, so they were able to easily attack over any monsters that I had set up. Moving on to the third game, I really didn't have that much. I was able to get into one of the generals, however that was met with Solemn Judgment. I was able to combo into Do Lauren to bounce the clear wall back to my hand. However, their monsters just really overpower mine with their high attack. They're also able to easily take advantage of Area the Water Charmer to special summon one of my monsters from my graveyard, since a majority of mine are water. This allows them to go into Selene and set up a few extra monsters, with enough interruptions in the end to where I'm unable to overcome what they have set up. So overall, as you could see from the gameplay, this deck certainly could use some boosts in order to be able to play through some more interruptions, but all in all, I'm starting to understand exactly how the archetype works, as well as the different lines of play the deck has to offer. As always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. I hope you all enjoy this series addition to the channel, as it certainly provides some more variety for our content overall. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, as always, have a nice day.